Welcome back to ITW. It's recording. It's recording.
Welcome back to In the Works, where we keep working in the works.
Yeah.
We got to work on that.
Honestly, we could probably pay like $5 to get an actual intro. Oh, speaking of,
In the Works with Brandon and Usa.
Thank you, Raviv, as always. Okay, so today we're talking about something a little cliche, but not at the same time. It's something we suck at. And so we're just having a conversation about it, bouncing ideas back and forth. Maybe we'll get something out of it. But it's social media, and not necessarily like, is it bad or good or whatever. And it's just more like, how do you use it? You be yourself and use it. How do you avoid, being too egotistical but sharing things that you find cool? So that's kind of what it is. I mean, I don't really post too much on things, but I do use social media in other ways. So, I mean, I guess we should start, what actually is social media when we say social media?
well, most people just think about their usual things of just
Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook,
Twitter,
the
but
posts, always posting things.
always a lot more.
Yeah.
Because if it's reaching out with just another person, a lot of things could be considered social media.
Yeah. So like, video calls, FaceTime, stuff like that. That's social media. I mean, you're using it socially and it's media. And text message? I don't know about that, doesn't it? It's a form of media.
It is a form
but
of
it's
media.
not, I wouldn't say like social media.
But it is social.
Yeah, I don't know. But either way, it's not just the big platforms that you think of. It could be any way you use, media socially. I guess interconnected on the internet or something might be a stipulation. Did you have a definition down?
No.
Okay, I thought you looked one up before, and then I was waiting for you to say it.
Nah,
but I guess you didn't write it down.
What defines social media?
Yeah. But
Let's see.
It's good to think of it not just as posting, because if you only think of it as posting something, then you're just going to have a skew of social media, or at least the word or what we mean.
All right. So under Merriam-Webster's dictionary, it is social media is forms of electronic communication such as websites or social networking and microblogging, through which users create online communities to share information, ideas, personal messages, and other content, such as videos.
So I also think of like Discord, so it's often used for stuff that's not even related to like ego or vanity, like we think of with like Instagram. It's like Discord, people use that for gaming and like school and meme pages and such. Like I know that was used for school for me for a while, and you communicate on that, like, hey, getting this done.
That
Hey,
was
we're working on
wild.
this. Yeah. And then games as well. I mean, you're just like, hey, go over here, or you're on the video call and you're like sharing your screen and such, and it's a very positive thing. I also use Snapchat for group calls. For some reason, we're all on Snapchat and we do group calls. Kind of fun. It's real fun, but I mean, it's like we're not, it's not about vanity there. We're chilling with our friends, talking about stuff, and yeah, it's a very positive use for something like that.
Right now, for social media on my phone,
Mm-hmm.
I have it. I don't use
You don't use it. That's probably a good thing. Do you consume at all?
I just listen to podcasts,
I guess that's
and then I still like watch YouTube videos and stuff, but
yeah.
in terms of other social media, including, I don't know, just talking to other people and sharing photos and stuff, I don't do that.
Okay.
I don't remember
You
the
don't
last-
care at all.
I don't remember the last time I opened TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I don't remember the last time I opened those.
So I open Snapchat mostly because of like a group chat.
Yeah.
And of course, then I see stories on there and I might click through those. Instagram, sometimes I typically just go on there to see what other people are doing. I mostly follow uh, people from high school, college, people that I know, current friends. So I just kind of look at that and it's like, what are some people doing? And it's what I've noticed is it's the same like 10 people out of a couple hundred that I follow post anything ever or consistently.
Yeah.
And so I see like the same 10 people over and over. I'm like, this is kind of interesting. I wish I could see more of what everyone else is doing, because you'll click on someone's profile and it's like picture from like 7 months ago and nothing else. I mean, and I'm not dissing. My last photo on Instagram, I think might have been from January of last year. So it's been about a year since I've posted anything on Instagram.
Say that's about right, because that's one of the posts that I think we were actively trying to use.
Oh, no. That was one. It was the yellow one where I was going upstairs.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was the last one. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah, thanks, bro. Yeah.
Wait. The last time I used a post on Instagram was in July.
In July?
Yeah, it was a little bit after, maybe a day or two after.
4th of July.
4th
Yeah.
of July,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, I like those sort of things a lot. I do like the posts of 4th of July. It does communicate some sort of spirit for holidays.
And then
and
before that was definitely
it was like, a long time. So the biggest question here is, how do you communicate your personality over social media? And I think it's really easy when it's, like a video call, a group chat, text message. I guess we'll start with simple stuff like that before we move on to the kind of the bigger stuff that people think about.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Personality. There's so many different different personalities.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know how they have those codes? Just
like INTJ.
Yeah, something like that. I actually recently took the Myers-Briggs personality test, and I think it was just a lot of questions. So many questions.
It is a lot of questions.
But I ended up with the personality type of I think it's pronounced virtuoso.
Virtuoso.
It is an ISTP-A.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they had some sub things like with the A on the end.
Yeah. So it's introverted, sensing, thinking, perceiving, assertive.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So I
learned a lot about myself.
Okay. So I kind of laugh at those a little bit, because like when I was younger, I got into all that stuff, right? Younger. Wow. I'm still young. But like when I was in middle school, high school, I would just flip through that stuff and I'd take the test many times to try to like game the questions to get the result I wanted. Like which ones. So I actually find it really hard to take the test. And I just feel like it's kind of easy to pick and choose who you want to be in that situation.
But that's
like,
where
you're like,
you have to.
Here's the problem: is you're doing questions about yourself, and you're like, who am I? What do I do? Do you often do this? And you're like, well, no, I don't often do that. I once was taking the test, trying to do it seriously around my family, right? And I forget it. Brother was like, no, you don't do that
around
at all.
your family. You should have done this alone.
Well, I've done it, like I said, I've taken it so many times, and around like a family member or two, and they're like, that doesn't describe you at all. I'm like, what do you mean? It describes me very well.
Well, the thing is, if you're doing it with other people and they're telling you what they do or what they see, it's what they're perceiving.
I know.
So it's not like,
so
actually,
how do you know that your perception is the correct perception and theirs is the wrong perception? Because they may have a better angle on that specific question of, do you do this? Especially at that time, like my family, I was pretty much around them all the time.
Okay, but with personality tests, it's going on more of how you feel.
How you feel.
Not so much of what other people think and see.
I don't know. That's a little skewed, because then it's, again, just your perception,
Okay.
How are you really?
Well, I can tell you that the results I got were
very accurate, like in a ballpark at least.
Like it was a lot more accurate than I wanted it to be. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Along with
that's fair.
along with my girlfriend's, hers was a lot more accurate for her than I would say she wanted it to
Yeah.
be. It really,
And at least with something like that, even if it's not perfect, even if maybe you could look at another one and say, oh, that's also me. It's not a bad thing to go through and be like, these could be my strengths. These could be my weaknesses. Because then you could, even if it's kind of slightly off, those are still probably things you should watch out for in general. So it's not the worst either way.
no, I
Just to
definitely,
be aware. Because then you know, oh, I got to work on this shit. Or, you know what? I am pretty good at this other thing.
Well, you should try it again.
Okay, so I've taken it in recent time a couple times, just because
Over in recent times?
I'd say within a year.
Is it
people have
the
asked me to.
specific test that,
The Myers-Briggs.
yeah.
So I have cycled through, and also these are the main ones that just keep coming up. I don't know the subtypes of stuff, but a common one would be INTP, INTJ, and then like ENTP, ENTJ. Like I kind of go back and forth between the judging, the perceiving, and then also introversion, extroversion. I don't get as much S's or F's in there. I forget sensory is, what's the S, do you know?
It's just sensor.
Sensor versus
Sensing, I guess.
intuitive or something.
Something like that.
Yeah. And then the next one, the T and the F are thinking and feeling. I sometimes, when I take it, would get the F, that INFP.
I think that's the issue. You're taking it too many times.
Well, I'm taking it at different parts of the day. If I take it at night, I'm definitely going to be a lot more like feely,
oh,
a lot
okay.
more introverted. If I take
Maybe
it
you
in the
should-
morning, I might be a little more like ENTJ type deal. Midday, maybe more, INTP.
You should just take it at night.
I think it's something that changes throughout the day. I don't feel like you are
No, definitely.
at least under these terms of, personality, you're not the exact same personality as you go through the day.
Mhm.
So, but taking it at night, it's a lot more
It is.
like lines are blurry. You know what I mean?
I
Like
guess
you just
it
don't
just
know.
depends on who the person is,
Yeah.
because
I feel like I get a lot more feely at night,
I,
really thinking, really just like that would be the INFP type thing.
Mhm.
Just kind of like, yeah, a little artistic.
Okay, well, I would definitely say it made me think a lot about myself and if I would prefer this or that type of thing. So I learned more about myself, not only taking the questions, but the results too. It was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I one time was like reading through all of them just because I wanted to,
Reading through all of them?
yeah, cover your bases, like, could this be me?
Well, it's just like,
It's just holding it up to yourself and being like, is that right? Or, like I was saying with maybe problems for one personality type, you just kind of hold it up and you're like, okay, in what situation am I like this?
but it's just like, there's so much. So this is my
Dude,
results.
I had
But, like,
ample time.
There, you went through all of those.
Yeah, I would go
For
through.
all-
It wasn't just one night, and I'd quite literally start at like one of them and just flip through.
Oh my
I've done
gosh.
a couple other personality tests, but the Myers-Briggs I remember the most. I put more time into that, and that was years ago.
I think the Myers-Briggs one is the most accurate
Is it?
out of
Okay. It's the
all of
16 personality, and then
Yeah.
I guess they have subtypes now. I think I knew that, but I haven't done as much with subtypes. But yeah, no, I've scrolled through pretty much all the personality types.
It's wild.
Well, just because you're not always the same in every situation.
No, I get
mean,
you.
in some, like, say in certain social situations, you're gonna act like a different personality, and so you got to know what pitfalls are you gonna have at that point in time.
See, for me, I totally understand where you're coming from. For me, I do act different whenever I am out
Mhm.
and I socialize, but that's not who I'm really am,
I feel like it's just different,
No,
levels. Like there's a broader, like, okay, at this point in time over, this many months or whatever, you have been kind of more this type of individual.
'Cause-
But then you go into a subcontext of, say you're at like a camp or something, and your environment is different, so you have to shift to adjust to your environment. Yes, you still have that overarching personality, but you're going to change your behavior and maybe what actually gives you energy based off of, you know, what's going on, what you enjoy while it's there. So you might have a different personality at like this summer camp, legitimately your different personality because it's a different environment, different context, but overarching, you're still the same person.
No, definitely.
And so then you hit like the different flaws of that personality at that point in time versus your overarching flaws. So
I think it's more of just what, I guess it's more patterns of what you do more is what it goes off of.
Yeah, you're just trying to, I guess it's really trying to get to, you know, what is your function? You know, like if you put X in, what's your Y going to be at any given moment? So how does your brain,
I guess, like
receive information, process
what
it,
does it
give an
default
output?
to?
Yeah. So, I mean, because I guess you could still have your personality, but I guess that's what I'm getting to is it's kind of hard to discover what is your straight up personality because, you know, say you're introverted or maybe you're not as, maybe you're more feely thinking, right?
Yeah.
There might be a time where you are like, okay, I need to be more extroverted, and you kind of like practice that like religiously for a really long time. You might actually change yourself to be a little more extroverted.
No, I completely understand that because that's what I pretty much did because I had social anxiety.
And you might find out, you know, like, oh, after doing this for so long, like rigorously, I get more energy from people now. And so you kind of like flip.
Well, okay, so the thing with that for me is like I've totally done that. I've put myself in uncomfortable situations just so I could be more, I guess, socialized and more extroverted.
Yeah.
But for me, it still doesn't change the fact that I like to be alone, even though I can still get energy off of being around other people. So it is something I'm more comfortable with, but it's something I don't really prefer.
So,
I don't know how to explain it because
I got you.
like I do enjoy social
you go in and
but
and then you need time for yourself. And here's the curious thing is I wonder what the default human would be. You know what I mean? Like
indecisive.
What are you okay? And I guess does your environment shape things? Because straight out the womb, bro. So you're straight out the womb. You're going and no human contact ever. You know, what would you turn out to be? You know, would you be more introverted? Would you be more extroverted? If you were to then plant that person in a social situation, would they be extroverted, introverted? Like what causes those extroversions and introversions for a person is what I'm trying to get to.
Who knows?
I guess that's that's valid. Like it's kind of a hard question. I think that's, I think people are
hard.
actually working on that. Like, you know, top minds in the field and not just some person asking a question on a podcast, but
why don't you just ask the stars?
Yeah.
Well,
astrology. No, but I'm just wondering how much of a personality is just influenced by just how you were raised, how much of it is baked into your brain function, and how much of it can you actually change? Because I know everybody at one point, anyone I've come in contact with, no matter how extroverted, at some point they want time to themselves, and they'll say, like, you know, I'm actually kind of more of an introvert. You know, I need time to myself, you know, but they'll be spending, 12 hours out of their waking hours with people on purpose because they find energy in it. And so I'm wondering where's the distinction there on some of those things of, okay, yeah, this person does like time alone, but to them, they enjoy time alone. They don't like people, but to other people, I mean, you are seeking out interaction for like 12 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
That would be extroverted. Or where they find their energy, maybe alone, they just have no energy, even though they prefer to be alone, or they think they prefer to be alone. And then they just find more energy in people. And it's like, whose perception there is correct? And at what point do you say that's extroversion, that's introversion?
I think that's one of the difficulties of understanding personality, especially your own personality, because you not only have the aspect of trying to understand who you are and what you want to be, but you also have the outside world viewing how they perceive you.
And then how that affects your environment.
And
too.
so
how they treat you based on that.
And that'll definitely make you very confused on what you are, who you are.
Yeah.
And there are actually a lot of people who on social media that do that as well. They curate themselves to be perceived a certain way.
And then people treat them that way.
Yes. But like you say, it's an aspect of themselves.
Yeah.
It could be something that they enjoy doing, or, you know, just a hobby, a little bit of personality, just a little portion of it.
I would find, you know, other people's perspective on you isn't necessarily wrong, because, you know, your eyes are coming out of your head, not looking at you. So it's, so you can't always, it's harder to analyze your behavior in the way you would analyze someone else's behavior. So, and you also feel like you have more context and more reasons. So you feel like you could give yourself more passes on things. So it's not a bad thing to hear someone else's opinion on your personality and go, you know, maybe you're right. You know, include that into your equation. Because, I mean, there are people who can pick up on things that you're like, oh, I didn't know I did that. Or, you know, you are right. I do seem to find my energy more with people than alone. I still need alone time because, you know, it is exhausting to go out and put forth energy with people. I mean, you are actively working, pretty much working your brain. But yeah, you know, I do find more energy with people, stuff like that. So I wouldn't completely count out other people's opinion.
Yeah.
It can be pretty flawed too, as you see on like comment sections.
Yeah.
You piece of trash, you.
It kind of goes back to our self-awareness podcast in terms of other people perceiving you.
Yeah.
And getting that.
It's a mirror.
Not the mirror. I don't remember how we said it. I don't remember how we said it, but it was being. We talked about subconscious and other people think.
And then Cody summed it up in like 2 sentences.
No, this was one without Cody.
Okay. Well, no, I mean like in the comments. He was just like, I think what you mean is this. And then we're like, he's right. Yeah, that's exactly what we mean. We just talked ourselves in circles for an hour for no reason. Yeah.
That's what makes a podcast.
Yeah,
you know?
right. No, but so you got personalities, right? And how does one communicate their personality over social media? I guess I'll go back to what I was originally saying. First, let's take the softer stuff with like Discord, video calls, text message, you know, stuff like that. Blogging. How do you communicate your personality through more softer things like that?
Well, some ways I found online because I'm no expert.
Okay.
You know, I post maybe one thing a year, so no expert.
Expert right here.
Online, I found, you know, being, you know, it's very vague.
Being yourself.
In general. No, that's exactly what I have for the first one. It literally says being authentic and true to yourself. But,
okay. That's a given.
Yeah. Anyway, so interests, passions.
I guess the authenticity thing is something good to mention, because oftentimes in a social setting, you may start to like act in a way that goes with the context of the conversation and less like how you should act and how you should speak.
See, that also goes under understanding your personality as well. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can't.
Well,
It's
I mean,
hard to be authentic when you
People
don't
get carried away sometimes.
Okay,
is
yeah.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
Everyone's been there. You've done it. Group setting, and you just maybe kind of take one aspect of something a little too far, or you just seem to be in this different space, and it's just kind of not exactly who you are, but you kind of always do that
Yeah.
in that setting. So the authenticity is, am I pretty much the same? It may be different contexts, but if someone over here in this group or in this setting were to see me over here, would they say, "Yep, that's Brandon," or would they be like, "Wow, wow, that's a completely different person right there"? Like, I know sometimes that's inevitable because you don't get a good look at somebody in a different setting, but in general, it'll be like, okay, I could see that translation there. It's not, even though the context might be big and different, that person is still the same dude.
Yeah.
So I guess just keeping an authentic self, as in, who am I, or who do I think I am, right?
Yeah.
And what kind of values, pushing it through a value filter of, is this kind of me? Is this what I do? Is this, and I guess on the other side of that, is this what, if I were looking at myself, would I go, ooh, that's kind of, why would you say that? That's a little weird. Or would I go, okay, I mean, that makes sense. That's within context. That's just who he is, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So authenticity, I guess, was a good one. And it's not necessarily a given. It's a good reminder.
It is. Well, there are other ones are just sharing your thoughts and opinions. A lot of people have trouble doing that, like myself.
So all right, sharing thoughts.
Okay.
THOT or THOUGHT?
You know what we're talking about.
I know. Sorry. That's a terrible joke. See, I went too far. No.
Funny enough, the next one is be yourself, but mindful to the audience.
So authenticity. Oh, or shut my mouth when I have a thought, like an intrusive thought.
Probably like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as like, wait, what was it? It was thoughts and
Opinions.
opinions. How would one kind of put that forth? I know in like a group chat setting, that's a little easier. It's people there may be context, but say on like bigger platforms or kind of what we think of as social media, what would that look like, sharing your thoughts? How would you determine, oh, this is a thought I should share,
I mean, if you're having trouble distinguishing that, just go on Twitter and see what people post.
Just go on Twitter, make it anonymous real quick, just like test, and then I'll.
Because you can have like multiple accounts, social media accounts for different things, different aspects of.
Yeah, I guess there are. Instagram versus Twitter has different context.
Yeah, or even just like, oh, you have a side business, you want to promote that. That's obviously going to be more professional and curated towards a specific audience rather than your personal one where you can just show people that you travel or you have fun or, this hobby, that hobby type of thing. Because there are some people who have separate Instagrams with just scenery things like sunsets. And
stuff. Like people, they'll have their photography thing or they'll have like their dog.
Yeah, so it's pretty much like that.
Or like their hiking one and then their personal one.
Multiple
I found that interesting. It's like, should one split up accounts for different things, or what would be a good place to, split up an account so where it's like, okay, here's my interest, but now, shifting a different page to that interest. Why would you have a personal page like that and then a separate page full of other things? Have this, like, what would you put on one and then have the interest on the other?
Instead of interest, it's more passions that usually
maybe stuff that's kind of like taken a
because
I don't know how to say that.
I don't know how to say it either.
But I see people who do both. I see people who post, like, say on Instagram, they'll post pretty much everything on one, and then I notice others have like dedicated pages. It's like, I was always wondering, did they just start the page like that, or did they shift over to a page like that? And I feel like a lot of times people kind of offshoot it. They go, oh, I'm getting a lot of attention on my regular one for this stuff. And they may periodically post stuff on that interest, but then go deeper in their other page. I don't know, more daily stuff.
I want to say that also goes with just targeting the right audience, because if you just have a whole bunch of different things on one page, it's just
Yeah. But I guess if you're looking for a summation of you, that works. If you're looking to share a specific interest, a separate page would work.
Yeah.
Because if you just want people to get a summation of who you are, which is what I feel like social media, like, or at least like an Instagram should be like a kind of a collection of things. People get to know you. That's like your profile before someone meets you, or after, you know, like just give a quick summation of stuff. And of course, you always want to put like really good stuff on the, have like the best things. And I guess that leads to a lot of vanity aspects of trying to put like only the good side on there. And of course, you don't want to put like bad stuff on there. You're like, put my mistakes on it. Just like, I made this terrible fuck up. Here you go, world. And they're like, yeah, you're a piece of shit. But how do you get a good mix of, the perfection things that you've really curated, and then also just the regular stuff that you're like, post. So, I don't know.
it's a mystery.
Yeah, a mystery. I don't know. But I feel like, you get a good mix on your like personal page, because if you're using it for almost a summation of personality, and then I guess if you're posting a lot for specific interests, maybe a separate page.
Yeah.
Would work.
Well, I have
More?
really just a few others.
Okay, let's hear them.
It's showing a sense of humor.
That's some
There-
low-hanging fruit. What if you're serious? What if you're a serious person?
I didn't really read much into it, because these were like
listed out.
listed out and then had like a giant block of just text underneath of it explaining it.
And you're like,
Yeah, pretty much.
flip.
That tells you a lot about myself. But it's
lazy.
yeah.
Hey, don't out yourself like that, man.
It's be consistent.
Consistency is good. I guess that goes back to authenticity, though.
And then
Or do they mean consistency in like presence?
I think online presence.
And continue.
And then the last one is just being selective with what you post. That's all I have.
Yeah, selective. I almost that almost seems like where a bottleneck happens. So
Yeah.
of course you don't want to, like I said, just put literal dog shit out.
But I think that's where it goes in hand with the whole having separate profiles and specifically having.
Also
things
think
for
that's
that.
where like the vanity and the ego kind of slips in, is right in that moment where it's like, should I post this? No, it needs to be better. It needs to be more perfect.
Hey, but if anything, it could be like, I want to post this.
Yeah.
Which account should I post it to?
Or I want to post something which accurately represents, you know, what I'm doing. So I guess being selective is just pretty broad. But I guess in that position, you would want to think to yourself, of course, first off, is it appropriate that you're posting that? I guess where would you want to post it if you got multiple accounts like that? I wouldn't think too hard about it, though. You just want to, you know, does it accurately represent something, or is it just kind of like a little thing? I mean, that's fine too. It just within context of yourself, is it just vet it real quick? But I wouldn't take too much time to really think about, like really deeply think about.
No, yeah, because this is one of those topics that are just so, it's like very broad, and you can just kind of keep going deeper and talk about different aspects and how they link up with each other.
You could get lost in the fog real quick.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think, you do have to be careful. And I think that's where awareness comes in, like checking in with yourself. How am I using this? What am I using this for?
Yeah, be sure to check our other podcast where we talk about self-awareness.
Oh, the episode. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's...
You know, we can still promote ourselves.
Yeah, no, you're good. I was like, other podcasts. This is the only... It's like, what are you talking about? The other podcasts where it's
it's not in the works.
It's in the mind or in space. No, that's our astrophysics one. USA teaches astrophysics.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be funny.
I love
Just
astrophysics.
give you like a little snippet and you teach it wrongly.
That'd be funny.
That'd be funny. Yeah. But so from kind of like the, you be selective and such, but also you want to share your personality. The biggest thing I find is just doing it. Like just posting something, just finding, just recording something, taking a picture of something. So how can one make that process easy so it's effortless? You can share effortlessly.
So I would say, just like we kind of mentioned before with being more extroverted, just kind of putting yourself out there and then being consistent with posts to understand what you like more.
So testing in a habits game.
Yeah, pretty much. You are definitely finding yourself in what you are comfortable with at that point.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say just be consistent, just continually to post things and see what you like, see what you don't like.
So how much should one post stuff they strictly like versus what people like to see? Because I feel like no matter what, when you start posting and, say you have like 2 likes on all your photos and all of a sudden 100,000 on one of them,
Yeah.
It's kind of hard not to just start doing what people like.
I will definitely.
So what?
I mean, I guess that's where it just comes into where we were talking about just separate profiles.
Yeah.
Just because, yes, you like this one thing and it got a lot of views,
but you don't want your whole account to just be that.
Yeah. So it would make sense just to make a new account specifically for that while you still keep yours that you can just post whatever you want.
Yeah. And try to funnel people over to the other one or something. Or if that content just blows up anyway, then there you go. Yeah.
So it's definitely just kind of hard to say because there's so many different things that you could do, different aspects that could just happen.
Because I mean, everyone wants to do something that pleases other individuals. And say you like doing something and people like it, so they like seeing it. I guess that would be where you would just keep doing more of that because you enjoy it, other people enjoy it, and you might grow through the process. And I don't know, it might turn into something, I guess. I guess I was thinking in the sense of, where do you get caught in a prison of something you don't really enjoy, but you feel like you need to keep doing that to sustain kind of either the likes, or maybe you get money from it now, or, just it's kind of the way it looks on your social media platform. But I guess at that point, you just got to know yourself, sense of say you're making money from it. Do you want to continue doing this to make money from it? Or would you rather go get a job elsewhere and make money from it? And you just have to decide with yourself, what do you want out of your life, and just not necessarily care about who is looking at it. Sense.
I agree. And I have nothing to add to that.
Nice. I love this sort of conversation because we're not exactly presenting information.
Yeah, we're not.
But it's like, so one has a question and then it's like you find your own answer. It's almost like one brain with 2 thoughts, It's like, which thought is thinking, and one adds to the other, So yeah, so make it easy, I guess. Don't overcomplicate. If you find something that I guess you really want to keep doing or posting, that maybe you'll slowly add pieces of the process in to make higher quality whatever, but keep making it easy. Like with pictures, maybe you're not worried about editing so much.
It's either make it easy and effortless, or just
make time for it.
Make time for it and have fun with it, really.
Yeah.
I think is what it comes down to, because I want to say if it's anywhere in between, it'd just be really difficult to manage.
Like you don't have time for it and it's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're just not having fun with it.
So
or
either-
it's not easy.
Either
just to
make
do.
time for it or make it easy.
Yeah.
Hey, that's actually really good. And you could kind of put your little slider wherever you want.
Yeah. Make it
based off-
fun
Whatever. Yeah. Make it fun, enjoyable.
somehow.
Yeah. I will say though, sometimes you do things not necessarily for the fun of things, but just because the result is something you want. So,
True.
and that could be, say, the fun, the drive of it,
Mhm.
that you're gonna do this thing not because it's fun, but because the result is just so good or great or perfect, like a drawing or something. Like it's not exactly fun to pour over a piece of paper and pay attention to every single detail and worry about your shaky ass hand.
Mhm.
But at the end of it, you're like, yeah, let's do that again. So
Because I know for the podcast, we have, I mean, I guess not specifically for the podcast, but we have gone out of our way to do something. And those things were fun. Those things were fun.
they also
Like,
took
it
a lot
kind
of
of
work.
sucked.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Yeah, I'm not. That's like big time commitments too.
Yeah.
Maybe another time. I feel like
Oh, yeah. Another time.
another life.
There is no time. There is no
There's
time
no
right
time.
now.
You gotta
Yeah.
make time, USA, or you gotta make it easy. One of the two.
Yeah, we're definitely going with making it easy right now.
Making it easy right now. Yeah. Which is interesting though, because one of our goals was, bring more personality to our podcast, but also our social media, because we never post anything.
Yeah, we don't.
So that would be one thing. And one thing I wanted to do was maybe test it on myself first and see how it could translate to the podcast.
Mm.
Because this podcast seems to be like two individuals talking about stuff. And so how do you make it like the idea of in the works, TikTok or
Mhm.
social media, Instagram, the idea of in the works as a whole, as us doing that, rather than like pieces like, oh, there's Brandon, his stuff, USA, his stuff. And then they just kind of talking. There's
Yeah.
no social anything on there. So how do you create that entity? Or do you?
We got to figure out how to make it easy.
Like, how do you make it easy?
Because at least for our podcast, we generally have that kind of setup, like in terms of how difficult it is to record and stuff.
Yeah, like
Because we
that
made
was
it
a
as easy as possible.
because it had to be.
Yeah. Because it had to be. We don't have
We
a
don't
lot
have
of
time for it, so we had to make it easy.
because the podcast that I'm listening to is always, we record for maybe like 3-4 hours, and then we have to go back and edit it down to maybe like an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I think that's wild.
That's wild. Yeah.
That's wild.
And I mean, it takes out empty spaces, that's for damn sure. And
But
it's a little curated too. I don't know.
yeah, we just go with it. We don't edit a lot of things out or
Pretty
just,
much on the front.
yeah,
and
it's just
back.
one continuous thing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking if we ever did that, our video would look so choppy.
Yeah, it'd just be like
My hand could be up here, and then all of a sudden
sudden-
it's just
yeah.
smacking you.
there's too much body language going on. And for cuts like that,
Mhm.
it would just look strange.
But yeah. But anyway, we just need to find an easy way to do things.
Easy way to communicate, I guess, for in the works are conjoined personality,
Mhm.
or I mean individual personalities just in the same space. So I do want to test out, personality for myself. How do I communicate that more over social media, and then see what we could bring to the table for in the works.
Mhm.
But starting it, like, how do I start that? What do I do? And like today, I don't know if I'll have time to do anything.
I'm not. I have schoolwork.
But again, that's another excuse. What if it only takes 2 minutes to post something to
yeah, maybe
write
we're just
something?
overthinking it.
Yeah. But that's where it goes. What should I post? And I think that'll be kind of like a slow start of, okay, I'm going to overthink it a little bit in the beginning.
Mhm.
And then, but if I keep going, if I keep making the habit of it, it'll just kind of,
It'll just come more naturally.
yeah. And it'll be something where it's like, I can identify what I want to share without having to think about what I should share. I
Yeah.
can be like that, boom, done. Less than a minute up, it's something, and I'm sharing my personality or something I find interesting or an idea with people that I know or whoever wants to see it.
Hey, what we're doing right now is pretty much social media.
It is social media. It is.
Because
but
in my head, I was thinking about our process through when we first started the podcast.
slow
And
and
now
clunky, and now it's a little different.
it's definitely a lot smoother.
Yeah, it is. I find it easier to talk on here now as well. I almost feel like it's harder to talk with the headphones and the mic not there.
Yeah. I'm telling you, for my
seriously-
speech, it was
Smooth.
it was a lot smoother than I expected.
Because you had to, you just,
I was
like
just
you always do.
I'm just recording myself
Myself,
again.
yeah.
I'm alone. There's no one here. Just
Yeah.
whatever.
And so I was thinking about this when like being on those group chat calls, is the way I would talk is different.
Mhm.
And sometimes when we get on a topic that requires a little more thinking, I was able to think a little better than I would say perfectly in person or maybe at that time. So I was just like, okay, I kind of identified a little bit what I was like when I was thinking about something and when I wanted to talk about it. And so lately I've been trying to, every time we go on the podcast, kind of be a little bit more in that mode rather than just be like, I have no idea how to act right now. Just when I'm talking about something where that requires a little more thought,
Mhm.
I just kind of try to get into that space again.
Yeah.
And I do find it pretty easy, like with the mic and a camera, headphones, because I guess it gives context. Don't know
Yeah.
why. Don't know why.
And I could just reminisce now.
About
Just
the past.
the past when we first started.
Oh God.
Like even those
The one where we had so much silence where we just stopped. We were like, I don't know if I can do this.
yeah, like what do we say?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
How do you talk in front of a camera? Yeah.
And then there are even like behind the scenes stuff where we were making those weird drawing on playing cards. And
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
mostly silence too.
Yeah. And that's, that's kind of the interesting thing, because even at that time, I could make conversation with people,
Mm-hmm.
when like small talk and stuff, and talk about things when, things were a little more quiet, like not as talkative. I could always keep conversation going. I could always keep talking. But when recording, when you have a camera that feels like every single eyeball in the world is looking at you, even though, it might not be anybody, it's different. And you're like, I just,
Hello world.
is my thought worth it to speak on my own podcast? And so I just being able to push out the space and go, oof, okay, I can talk here. Whoever wants to see it can see it. If they don't,
Yeah.
they don't.
I think
It
that
doesn't.
that was definitely
Just try
hard
not
for
to
me.
say anything too terrible, like I said earlier.
That was a
that wasn't
big,
bad, but
that was a big mental block for me
yeah,
in terms of just speaking, because I didn't know what.
yeah. You suddenly become very self-aware
Yeah.
of what you look like, maybe your mannerisms, and I'm looking on the podcast, like when we would edit, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I look
Mhm.
like that. I'm doing that. I still do that sometimes.
Personality wise, I think we've come a long way, especially with our audience and what we say.
What we say, yeah, we said a lot of random shit. I'd
Oh,
say
yeah,
it
definitely.
was humorous in a certain way. In other ways, it was like,
It was.
what are you talking about, bro? So it was very sporadic and random. And I feel like right now we're a little more focused on things. And I don't know, always changing a little bit. Even now, I think this podcast was a little different than ones we've done before. And we'll see about next podcast. How are we doing that different? How are we going to add personality?
I like this podcast.
Oh, yeah?
I enjoyed
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, me too. But our second goal is personality. How can we bring more personality? I feel like that was our first one, and then an offshoot was how to bring that to social media, make it easy. But our goal for this year is how do we add a little bit of personality to our podcast? So yeah,
I think the first step was just being more aware of it.
be more aware of it. Yeah, the step one, admit it, you're boring.
You're boring. Face the facts. You're boring.
Face the facts. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't really have too much on that topic.
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
Not
to say.
too long of a podcast here, but just kind of short and sweet, 45 minutes. I guess short and sweet, and just kind of a little broad overview, a dialogue between me and you on how we can stop being a bitch about that shit.
Mhm.
And who knows if that'll work. Now it's putting into practice, something to think about. Yeah. So I guess until next time,
Yeah. So remember to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. I think that's all we have.
Yeah. Everything else we haven't posted on or anything.
Yeah, we should probably get to
we need to work
get
on that
around
shit, yeah.
on getting to more platforms too.
Let's start with what we have first.
I think more platforms would help a lot.
I don't know. That may be a conversation for later, but I find it easier to just have a couple where you just kind of scatter things on.
Yeah, but
then have
it's
like
not
more
much work. You realize it's not
For
much
me,
work.
it is.
How?
It's more attention splitting. I already have it's the
Okay.
difference between having 2 big classes and like 4 small classes.
Okay, explain to me how much extra work it is.
Well, okay, if we're doing this mathematically, I'm doing 0 work towards social media.
Uh-huh.
So it'd be like 5 times 0.
Okay.
It's still 0.
Yeah.
But the moment you add 1 and multiply it by 5, it becomes 5.
Okay,
So,
but I'm the one uploading the audio.
yeah, no, I mean like social media, not necessarily just
Oh,
like
well, yeah,
other
social
ones,
media.
other
but-
platforms. Not, oh, you mean podcast on different
Yes. There you go.
poor communication.
Yeah. But yeah, our podcast on different platforms.
Gotcha. I'll have to look back at that
So,
and see
like-
where I missed your speech.
So like iTunes,
Okay.
whatever else there is. I know there's a bunch. There are a lot.
That makes sense because
Yeah.
that would only really take
Yeah,
a
'cause-
couple more minutes. All right.
Okay,
All right. Got you.
Alright.
Understand. Yeah. Be
Yeah.
confident, guys. Share your personality or don't, whatever you want to do. And
Figure out your personality.
yeah, figure yourself out first,
Yeah.
please.
Just
please
figure yourself
figure
out.
yourself out.
Before you
Do
do
everyone a
anything
favor.
stupid, just figure yourself out.
That's not what we did.
or do what we did, make stupid mistakes.
Yeah,
or,
when nobody's watching.
yeah, and just. But still, we figure it out.
We might still be making stupid mistakes as we
most
speak.
definitely.
Anyway, let's just end this shit.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Well,
take care, guys. Oh, no,
What?
no, no.
what?
No, we're good. All right.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye.